What if AI is no longer just assisting translators, but preparing to replace the entire professional workflow?
What if the biggest disruption in the language industry is not translation software, but artificial general intelligence? For years, translators, interpreters, educators, content creators, and language entrepreneurs were told that AI is only a tool. But what happens when that tool starts planning, reasoning, writing, negotiating, researching, and working like a full professional assistant? That is where the real AGI scramble begins. In this video, we will decode what AGI actually means, why companies like OpenAI and Microsoft are fighting over its definition, and how this could reshape jobs, skills, education, translation, and the future of professional work. Before we go deeper, subscribe to Modlingua for practical insights on translation, technology, education, and research. Watch the full video carefully and share your view in the comments. Is AGI a threat to professionals or the biggest opportunity of our lifetime?
Okay, so here we are in 2026. And you know, that line between science fiction and reality, it's getting blurrier by the second. We have definitely hit a huge moment, something people have been talking about for ages. We're at the AGI tipping point. So let's get right into it and break down what is actually going on.
Right, this is the big one. The question that's on everybody's mind, from CEOs in the boardroom to politicians in the Capitol. After all the hype, all the decades of research, is AGI, artificial general intelligence, finally here? Is it real?
Well, here's the thing. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. Not even close. It's actually this huge, complicated mess of competing definitions, high-stakes corporate power plays, and frankly, massive economic shifts that are already underway. And it all kind of hinges on one little detail: who actually gets to make the call?
So, before we dive into all the drama and the money, we've got to get on the same page. We need to define our terms. What does AGI even mean today in 2026? Because as you're about to see, the definition itself, well, that's at the very heart of this whole story.
First up, let's just do a quick level set. On the one hand, you have the AI we're all pretty used to, narrow AI or ANI. These are the specialists. They're brilliant at one thing, like playing chess or recognizing faces. But on the other hand, you have AGI, the generalist. And the working definition here is pretty wild. A system that can outperform humans at most economically valuable work. It can learn, it can adapt, it can do it all on its own. That's not an upgrade. That is a whole new ballgame.
Now, what's really fascinating is how the business world has sort of sidestepped the philosophical debate and come up with its own definition, functional AGI. It's way more practical. The question isn't, is it conscious? The question is, can the AI figure things out? Does it have the knowledge, the ability to reason, and, this is the key part, the autonomy to work towards a goal, hitting dead ends and trying a new approach, just like a person would?
And you know what? By that metric, functional AGI is already here. I mean, look at this. These aren't just fancy chatbots anymore. They are active doers. We're talking about AI agents working as honest-to-God legal associates, medical specialists, software engineers. They're not just helping humans. In many cases, they're operating as full-on colleagues in some seriously high-skill professions.
Okay, so this chart shows you the kind of weird, fractured reality of AI right now. Check it out. Models like Gemini 3 Pro are scoring off the charts, literally superhuman, on things like graduate-level science exams. But then you look at the scores for humanities tests, stuff that requires a lot more nuance and context, and they just plummet. This is the world we're in. These incredible spikes of genius in one area, but some pretty major gaps in what you'd call true general understanding.
Right, so this whole fight over what AGI is, this isn't just some dusty academic debate. No way. It's front and center in a massive corporate drama with billions, if not trillions, of dollars on the line. And it really boils down to the two most important players in the game, OpenAI and Microsoft. You see, their partnership, which goes all the way back to 2019, had this little time bomb built right into the contract, an AGI clause. And this clause basically said that once OpenAI's board officially declared that AGI had been achieved, Microsoft's special, exclusive access to their tech would change a lot. And that single clause, that one little paragraph, is what led to all the drama, the lawsuits, and a complete reinvention of OpenAI's entire corporate structure. And then, right in the middle of this whole mess, you have OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman, who just casually goes on the record and says, "We have basically built AGI, or very close to it." I mean, can you imagine? That statement just sent absolute shockwaves through the entire tech world.
And almost immediately, you get a direct contradiction from Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, saying the industry is nowhere close. So what's going on? Why the two different stories? Well, for Microsoft, if AGI gets declared officially, their whole multi-billion-dollar AI empire, built on OpenAI's tech, is suddenly at risk.
So how did they solve this corporate standoff? You're going to love this. The power to declare AGI, it was taken away from OpenAI's board and handed over to a new, secret, independent expert panel. It's a brilliant corporate move, really. It protects Microsoft's massive investment by basically kicking the can down the road and making sure their access to the golden goose is secure, at least for now.
So, while the corporations are fighting for control up in the stratosphere, the technology itself is already kicking off a massive restructuring of our economy down here on the ground. Let's look at the numbers, because they are absolutely staggering.
Let's start with the good news, the huge upside. Economists are projecting that AGI could boost GDP growth by 7% a year, every year. To put that into perspective, that is a level of economic boom we literally haven't seen in generations. It's huge.
But here's the other side of that coin. An estimated 300 million jobs around the world, mostly white-collar knowledge worker jobs, are highly exposed to being automated. The sheer scale of this disruption is something we've never, ever seen before.
When you add it all up, the total economic value that could be created is somewhere around $7 trillion every single year. We're not talking about a new app or a slightly faster computer chip. This is an economic revolution on the same scale as the Industrial Revolution. So the big question is, which jobs are actually at risk? Well, it pretty much comes down to this divide here. On the left, you have codified knowledge. That's the stuff you can learn from a textbook, facts, and procedures. Those tasks, they're getting automated fast. But on the right, you have tacit knowledge. That's the wisdom, the judgment, the nuance you only get from experience. Those roles are being supercharged by AI, not replaced.
And look, this isn't just a theory. It's happening right now. Just this year, the giant global law firm Baker McKenzie laid off as many as 1,000 employees. And they said it plainly. It was part of a strategic shift to integrate AI to handle a lot of their research and support work. This is the new reality.
All of this change, all this disruption, is forcing a mad scramble to basically rewrite the rules of our society. Governments, institutions, everyone is in a frantic race to adapt to a world where human work isn't the only game in town anymore. And at the absolute core of this are these huge ethical questions. As these AI systems get more and more powerful, we have to figure out clear rules for things like privacy to make sure our data is safe, fairness, so these algorithms don't just make existing biases even worse, and accountability. I mean, who's responsible when an AI makes a mistake that causes real harm?
A really key battleground for all of this is copyright. As this EU report points out, AI models are trained by scraping just insane amounts of data from the internet. And that's challenging our entire idea of who owns what. How do we make sure that human artists and writers and creators get paid fairly for their work in this new world? That's a question regulators are wrestling with as we speak.
So, in response to this very real threat of jobs disappearing, a lot of ideas that used to be considered pretty radical are suddenly going mainstream. From guaranteed income pilots in Philly to basic income programs in Maryland, more than half the states in the US are now actively experimenting with some form of universal basic income. They're testing it out as a possible safety net for a future where there's just less human work to go around.
AGI is not just coming for language. It is coming for the way language professionals think, work, teach, translate, and build businesses. Subscribe to Modlingua for practical insights on translation, technology, education, and research. And tell us in the comments, is AGI a threat to language professionals or the biggest opportunity of our lifetime?